All right, so traditional half guard, we need our feet locked on the outside. Okay? We can just triangle them here. You can have your feet together, whatever we want. We also need to make sure our back is off the floor, and I need to protect this underhook anytime my opponent gets this top underhook. That's bad news. So protect the underhook, elbow to the inside. I always try to touch my elbow to my center line, keeping my hand flat to my chest. Second hand, I should be protecting this crossface here. So I never block with the hand. Your wrist can easily get folded backwards here. So I block more so with the inside of my wrist, fingertips towards the tricep, but I'm not actually grabbing here. I'm just keeping my elbow tucked as a frame. If my opponent is bigger or stronger, whatever, and they're able to start crushing in that crossface, we just do a self-frame, palm on the forehead, until we can get our head towards the center line. Once I get my head towards the center line of my opponent, then I can also start using my top leg of my half guard, off balance a little bit, and then remove the rest of the crossface. So now if he has no crossface, no underhook, this is when we're always going to look for our opportunities to start looking for our own tight waist grip. So always coming up and around. I lead with my hand to off balance, taking their head off my center line. So this way I have a free path to come up here. Okay? So let's rotate a little bit. All right, so now for a lockdown half guard. Lockdown half guard, we're going to go from feet on the outside to feet on the inside. So we just have an outside hook. Okay, so it's our outside leg that's actually hooking. Okay, our inside leg should always be our top leg, and we need to be curled underneath of our partner's foot. Okay, anytime I'm on my inside hip like this, so I'm looking towards my partner's opposite knee. Okay, this is when my heels should always be curled in. That way, if my opponent tries to free the trapped leg, okay, like there's no real exit here. Okay, if we extend too early, it's basically worthless, and this is where now they're going to easily pass. Okay, so always heels curled in. Anytime we turn to our outside hip with our grips that we're going to get later on, this is where now extension gets very powerful. Now when our opponent goes to move that leg around, it's very difficult. Okay, so inside hip, curled. Outside hip, extension. All right, so for the knee lever sweep, we need control of this post arm on the same side as the trapped leg on our half guard. So a couple different ways that it's going to happen, that's going to come up, is one, when I sit up and I do have a tight waist, my opponent goes to re-pummel here. And as they go to re-pummel, we can find ways of capturing the arm. Okay. You can also capture it when I go to re-pummel. Just keep that in there. Okay. I go to re-pummel my underhook and then we capture. Okay. It's also going to happen when our opponent just has a crossface and underhook. Okay. We can keep that arm trapped and use it as a way of just off balancing. Okay, and then if we use this version, there's going to be two things he could do. One, he's either going to give me the sweep, okay, or two, he's going to open his underhook, base out to stop the sweep, which will allow me to re-pummel. Okay, so anytime we're here, when we want to go knee lever, we want our feet, or my inside leg, I want to curl my foot towards the knee, so my heel is actually physically touching the knee. Okay. Now my outside foot is just going to step, and it's just going to reinforce that. Okay, I pinch my knees against my partner's thigh, and then as I'm pinching, it's not like I'm squeezing. It should be tight like a rash guard, and not like I'm trying to strangle his leg. So it's just against him. I'm going to make sure that I keep control of this arm, so I can just keep my arm down towards the elbow. If I'm up too high on the shoulder, the arm can still move. So down towards the elbow. And now as I'm pinched, I barely bring my hips off the floor, and now I'm going to point towards this corner. Okay, so if this is his base of support, it needs to be out in this area. Okay, that's the direction my knees are going to attempt to point. And now it's going to be easy. If I don't have good control of the elbow, or my partner's very explosive, we go to do the same thing. They're just going to base out, and we re-pummel. If we do end up having this tight waist, we're getting ready to set up, whatever, our partner does go, here's where we can sometimes capture the wrist, and then we can start to sweep from over top. There's even going to be times where we have frames, they try to pummel in from here, and then now we also capture it. Anytime we get this grip, where we're just hand on the inside of their palm, like almost I was going to shake his hand here, my elbow covers theirs, and that way I can hug it to my chest. Okay, and then what we really need here is we need our partner to try to pin us flat on our back. Okay, even if they have this deep crossface here, which is typically good, a crossface without the underhook is you're getting swept. So we want to make sure, again, our heel of the inside leg curls in towards the knee, reinforced foot, knees pinched, hips slightly up. It's not a bridge. And then now it's only a turn of the knees. Now it's an easy swoop. We come up on top and secure. All right, so now for the roll through sweep. So roll through sweep, we're able to secure that tight waist. We're turning belly down, building our base up beside our partner. We never want to come up underneath of them. That's like trying to stand up while you're laying under a table. So we always want to come up beside our partner. Here's where we're going to make sure that we hit a nice pass off. So I want to go from my feet on the outside position to the inside position. My heel's going to curl at the shoelaces to secure. Okay, so once we do this, we're going to make sure that we hit this shift. So with my tight waist arm, I'm going to reach across to my opponent's far base. Okay, so towards his left arm right now. As I extend that direction, his head moves that way, his weight moves that way. This is when I'm going to lean forward, I extend my body, and as I'm curling, I pull my bottom knee out from underneath of theirs. Okay, as long as there's no weight on it, it's pretty easy. Okay, now here's where we're going to start securing our triangle. We go back to our tight waist and we keep our head on the inside. I'm going to go back to my scoop grip. Okay, once we get this, I want to pull my heels to my butt, pushing my hip against the knee. Okay, you can step up. Okay, the goal here is to get this knee off of the floor of the leg that I'm controlling. Okay, so if I need to start to base out or whatever here, but I'm pulling my heel towards my butt and I'm just bringing the knee off the floor. Okay, once this knee comes off the floor of the near knee, now I'm going to start doing a reverse shrimp. So we keep this tight waist, my foot extends out, I drag my hips towards my right foot. We slide, we slide, we slide, and we come up, still securing that ankle until we can block behind the knee, 2 legs behind, and secure top position. So now we're going for our roll through sweep. We're going for our roll through sweep, and while we're going for this, we have our tight waist, okay? We have the leg secured, and then now, as I'm trying to take the knee off the floor, my opponent keeps this knee that's in front of my hips very heavy, okay? So let's actually do like a 180 so you can see the knee. All right. So if while we're trying to do this sweep, okay, I'm having a hard time getting this knee off the mat, it's just super heavy, all the weight is into that knee. If all the weight is into that knee and I cannot move it, we just get up. So we're going to make sure we build our base up, and then now we're coming through, okay? And then now dogfight's going to be our whole new battle. There's going to be many things we can go for from here. If we wanted to, depending on how they are, when they're posted up on this far leg, this is where a lot of times I'll threaten just rolling back through for the plan B. So as I drive in, I feel all that pressure coming in off that post leg, and we roll back through, and it's the same as the roll through sweep. Okay, just taking them all the way up over top, still securing the leg until we can get the pass. We come back. Okay. Also, what happens as we go for our sweep, whether it's the roll through, plan B, okay, as we go to roll them over top, they pull the whizzer out and post to stop the sweep. As soon as this happens, we follow the arm of the tight waist. So I immediately turn, come right back up. Okay. So this way we're going to be able to beat that whizzer coming back in and make sure that we can get behind our partner. So now when we're in the dogfight position, yeah, we have that leg between, so we want that ankle hooked. That's going to give us a lot of moves. So that lower leg shift from earlier where we hook with our heel under our partner's shoelaces to come up, that's super important. I want to maintain that as much as possible. So now from here, this could be from many different ways, but when they have this whizzer in, whether we're driving in, we tried to go for our plan B, okay, is I'm going to turn my hand palm up, okay, that's important, and also I want to take my head towards my own post, okay, so as I shift my head towards my right hand, okay, like I want to look down at my fingertips, that's where my hand turns palm up and we limp arm out. As soon as I feel my elbow come free, I'm going to start going back in towards my partner's back. And then now we're able to follow. We're in a good position where we can start to chase the back once again. So now same position. So we have our tight waist. Our partner has our whizzer in. And then, so now from here, depending on how strong their whizzer is, there's a bunch of different things you could do just on the whizzer. If I'm too relaxed and my opponent has a strong whizzer and I try to body lock or anything like that, it's going to be just like like an Uchimata type position. So he could throw me over top because he has the inside leg position here. And then anytime I'm body locking or anything like this, he's going to be able to just throw me right back down. So one thing we could do is we're going to somewhat relinquish the tight waist and we're just going to bring it up high above the shoulder. So I bring it up high like this. Now when my partner goes to throw me back down, it's super difficult from here. So, and it's not that I'm trying to push away or anything. Just I'm bringing it high, kind of getting the hand from out on the inside. Now I'm going to heist my hips. So I'm up into like a tripod position. We're going to circle to the other side and insert our far hook. So as we start to circle around here, we put this hook in. Now, if I can keep control of this arm, I'm just going to punch it underneath. Typically, as we come out, we secure this baseball bat grip, and we're going to drag them back down with us and start to set up all of our twisters. So, again, they have a strong whizzer. If they didn't have a whizzer, it's just a free back take. Okay, so partners should always have that whizzer in. So instead of going up high like we did before, now I'm just going to come down low and start switching almost into a single leg type position. My shoulder drops behind the hamstring. I'm not really like squeezing or anything like this, just shoulder pressure, forcing his weight towards his post hand. Okay? And then now from here, I aim to connect my hip to his tailbone, and I want to back step between the feet. Okay? So similar to our lockdown position earlier, I want to bring both feet to the inside position. As I drive, we back step, hip towards the tailbone. I grab over the shoelaces, and then now I'm going to lift as I step up, and I want to place it up against my pocket. So we have it shelved here, and then again, shoulder against the hamstring, keeping the weight towards the hands. If I posture too soon, this is where my partner can start to turn and face me, start to get up, whatever. Okay. So constantly keeping weight towards the hands. And then from here, this is where I like to come through, catch the far ankle, the far knee, break them down to a hip. Okay. And then because we got both knees pointed to one side, it's generally a fairly easy pass. This is just an alternate finish for the single leg. So again, we want to drop down into our single. Okay. And then now, because we have that ankle hooked in the back of our knee from earlier, how we got up in the first place, we're holding on to the thigh. Our partner has a strong whizzer still. Okay. We're going to step up on the outside, build some base. Now I'm going to slide my knee towards my own foot. So I want to be able to drag this. So I don't want to walk. Okay. So it shouldn't be a little movement. Okay. It's going to be one big slide. So as I step up, I slide to the outside. And then now we just keep good head position and downward pressure so we can generally break them down to a hip here. I still keep the ankle locked. We're going to transition to the far hip, bringing our knees behind, and then now we can start to climb behind and secure our pass or a possible back take if they turn to turtle. All right, so now when we go from our dogfight position down into our single leg here, okay, and for whatever reason our partner is able to get that foot out. This is terrible. This used to be one of my least favorite positions because it's so easy to get smashed here. And it took me a long time to find this. So once I get here and my partner's in a strong sprawl where I'm carrying all their weight, this is miserable. Okay, I want to step up on the outside. So just like we did in the previous move, I want to step up. Okay, but this time as I step up, I'm going to drag the knee that I'm holding in my single leg towards my far hip as my head looks across his far hip. Okay, so we have a locked single leg here. Our partner's in a strong sprawl. We step, I drag across, and our knee comes over the far hip. All right, so back to our traditional half guard. So this is going to be when our partner does start to get this crossface here. Okay, and we want to get inside this crossface. So one thing we can start to do is we're just going to, if we ever feel space between our partner's knees, okay, we're going to make sure we bring our elbow to the inside position. I'm never going to try to push his leg straight backwards. That's all of his weight. I just want to kind of open them enough that I can get my knee to my elbow. Once my knee gets on the inside, I'm not going to try to pull my foot out and go to close guard. Instead, I'm going to create some space by separating my knee from my chest. As I do, I'm taking his arm with me. Okay? And then when the arm comes up with me, I can bring my second elbow up and over the head, and we just secure a wrist-to-wrist grip, and we're pulling the shoulder down to the center of our chest. Typically from here, we're going to be able to take that outside leg, pummel it to the inside, and hit a forward shift. And then now we're going to be able to start looking to sweep or submit from here. All right, so similar to the previous move, our opponent has a crossface. We obviously don't want that there, but we're able to get our elbow to the inside position on the knee. We're going to hit a hip escape, bring our knee to the inside. We're going to start to push our knee away from our chest, not my foot or my entire leg, just knee to chest. And I'm not trying to pull my foot to the outside position. Okay, so as I extend away, I start to bring this arm with me. Okay, and whether our opponent is still clinching or whatever, now I'm going to try to pummel my hand to the inside position. So I want to get inside the crossface arm. Okay, and now as I can turn, we get that same sort of frame we had earlier, where I'm wrist inside the bicep, my fingertips are cupping towards the tricep. And then now from here, we can give one more extension, moving our head away from theirs. Our knee comes inside the shoulder, and our foot comes to our own knee. This way now we're going to be able to start setting up our attacks from here. Pummel inside. All right, so now our opponent has the crossface, and this time their knees are pinched tight. It's difficult to get the inside elbow position here so that we can hip escape out into one of our other two positions. So instead, what I'm going to do, my right arm is going to stay straight, and I want my elbow to block the knee as my hand kind of blocks the shin. Okay, so I should kind of be swimming along the floor. I think of it like I'm making like a snow angel. Come down. As my arm comes down, my bicep is going to push in towards the top of the head. Okay, so even with a strong opponent, I'm getting my left arm into the bicep ear, or my bicep into his ear, as my right arm comes down along the floor and blocks the leg from being able to post out in this direction. Okay, so it's just going to be a slight bridge as we hit these. Okay, so two arms same time, and we get that arm into the outside. Now immediately we pummel back to the inside position, where now we can typically, if we remove the crossface, we're going to make sure that we hit a nice bridge. Our arm will extend up and over their head. We're back on our side where we needed to be for the beginning, and we pull our elbow back to the center line. So not only did I remove the crossface, I removed the underhook, and we're right back into our traditional half guard. All right, so when we hip escape out and we get to our clamp position, typically from here, our partner is going to be either posted on the floor, trying to gain posture, or they're going to be trying to pull something down, kind of hand fight here. Okay, but if I can control this wrist and create enough distance with my head, it's generally fairly easy, as long as I'm on my side. Okay? If I'm flat on my back, it's different. My knees are pointed to the ceiling. Okay, but I'm on my side. When I turn on my side, it breaks my opponent's posture. I put more weight down into their shoulders, and it allows me to retract this bottom leg. When I retract the bottom leg, we can shoot it over the far shoulder into a trap triangle. Then we want to make sure we cover the head, go into our traditional triangle finishes, make sure we cut the angle, get our knee in the correct position, right up against the carotid artery, and then now my knee replaces my hand, and we lock our triangle to get a strong finish. Very good. When we're back in our clamp position, okay, something else we could look for, especially when we can't control this far arm. They got that arm posted out wide. I want to bring my elbow back towards my center line, similar to what we did when we were in bottom half. Okay, I want to pull my elbow into my belly, and then it goes right up underneath the bicep. So elbow to belly, it goes underneath, and it pops right up onto my shoulder. I want to make sure that my posture is good, so I'm at the end of the lever, and their elbow is pointed straight up. Okay, I cover their elbow with mine. Okay, so can't be in a random spot, and I don't really prefer this grip. There's too much space. So elbow to elbow. Now from here, don't walk like a rear naked choke. I like taking my fingertips into my armpit, and my second hand is going to reinforce right where my tricep connects to my elbow. Okay, that's where I have the most force. Okay, now I'm going to rotate my body just slightly. Okay, so I'm looking towards the top of my partner's head. Okay, and then now from here, I'm going to take my forehead towards his forehead as my hips move backwards like a shrimp. Okay, so we barely move here, and we get our finish. Okay, sometimes even if you need to, we can bring our second foot back to the hip. We can keep our knees pinched, and now we're going to be able to get our finish here as well. Okay, but if I had this secured and my partner was here, we have a lot of room to extend and get that braking pressure, which is why you want to get used to not just contracting your arms to your body, but you want to be able to move yourself out of the way as you contract, so we can get a lot of braking pressure. All right, so back in the clamp one more time. So this one, as we're pinching in, we're trying to control that forearm. We feel the hand really go back. Sometimes people do this just to hug the hip. So I'm just going to secure it against my hip. I want to keep a bend in the arm. Okay. Once I have that bend in the arm, I'm going to slide my palm right down my thigh and secure my grip, grabbing right over top of my own thumb. Okay. I'm not grabbing my wrist. I want to like cover the back of my hand. So I keep it pinned against the hip. I reach through, cover the back of my own hand. Now I'm looking towards the same direction the top of their head points. My top arm that's covering the tricep, I want to pull down towards my belly on the mat. Okay. My second hand is going to be sliding his knuckles up my thigh towards my knee. So as we're secured here, I pull down on my top elbow as I slide the hand up my thigh towards the knee. And we got a lot of room there to keep our extension going and sliding it up the leg. All right. So now when we're in the lockdown, okay, we got those heels curled to our butt because we're on the inside hip. We secure our tight waist, and then now from here, I'm trying to build up the base, but our partner's covering us, okay, which does still make it difficult to get up. Okay, so if his head is over top of my head, very difficult to rise. So instead, we see their base of support of the far foot. Okay, I'm just going to reach over and grab right at the toes. Don't grab up on the shin. You have way less leverage here. Okay, their ankle is weak, so we want to try to grab and cover all the toes. Okay, and then now from here, my hand that's on the tight waist. Don't make a bad habit of pulling them down into you as you try to drive with just your shoulder. I want to reach. That way, I'm already starting to move him just by reaching my arm. Okay, and then now as we're here, same lower leg shift. So my left leg is going to retract back on the ankle as my right leg pulls out. And then now we're able to come up. We keep our head towards the center line. And then now we can start securing control of the arm and breaking them down, passing however we like. So now the most well-known move from the lockdown. Again, on the inside hip, we're curled. We get our tight waist, and we get our scoop grip on the leg. So I'm going under the hamstring on the inside. Okay, so that's what Eddie refers to as the electric underhooks. So I just want to make sure here, anytime I want to turn to the outside hip, I don't want to just turn. I want to pull knees to chest as if I'm doing a cannonball. As I pull knees to chest, I'm going to rotate to that outside hip and get some extension in my legs. As I extend, I'm going to raise my arm of my scoop grip as if I want to ask a question. I pull in, I rotate to the outside, and we extend this arm up like I want to ask a question. And the leg goes right up against my neck. Now from here, I want to make sure I keep this arm off of my head. People will try to clinch most of the time. Okay? And we're just going to start scooting back more on the lever, keeping that leg extended. Now my bottom arm is my support. I want to bring it up above my shoulder line, and then now it's easy to rise. If I keep my elbow down and in front of my chest and I try to rise, I'm rising into his body weight. So we bring it up above the shoulder line and we bring our head up off the floor. Okay? And then now from here, once we extend that lockdown out, we keep our legs extended. I want to rotate my partner's knee down towards the floor to go for our submission here. Okay? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've seen guys end up going against track athletes that do hurdles and then they can't get the finish here. But what you can get is we can start to make our head rise. As long as our head gets above our opponents and our hips get above our opponents, we're going to be able to come up and secure top position. Okay? So once we start to get this up here, I actually like to unlock my lockdown now. So we unlock, and I'm just going to step on the back of the knee or the top of the calf. I'm going to take my top leg up, bring it up from underneath of his body weight, and we hit a nice hip heist. And then once I heist, I can also start to knee cut right through the middle. Okay, so we keep the legs apart as we finish our pass. All right, so now we get our electric underhooks. We start rotating like we're going to go for our electric chair. We raise our hand to ask the question. Okay, so another option from here, especially if I have trouble getting up, usually it's because our partner's walking on their hands back towards us. They're trying to keep head over head. So I'm going to take my bottom arm that would be the arm that's going to prop me up. And I'm going to take it under the back of their knee. I want to ask two questions, I guess. Now I can come back to the heel. And once I get to the heel, I pass the leg all the way over my head. And this is where now we're going to start to rise. Okay? If our partner does try to cover us, we just keep extending. They have no base of support behind them. And we can come up to top position, possibly have a shot at taking the back, or what we're going to go for next. All right, so we're back into our lockdown. We have electric underhooks. And we extend that arm. We're coming back. We got two coming back to the heel and passing it over. So we're back in our stoner control here. So if they stay in this position where they're kind of in a turtle, okay, this is where now we can start to look up and catch our vaporizer. So I want to cover the toes here. Okay, make sure we always cover the toes. We have less leverage grabbing a hold of the ankle or the shin, okay, or even on the shoelaces. So cover the toes. Okay? Even if we want to go 2 hands, cover the toes. Okay, and if you need to add some real horsepower to it, okay, I can always take my outside foot, step heel to heel. We push with both legs as we pull those toes into us. So we'll get a nice calf slicer here, which they can't really turn in and hand fight, and they can't use that free leg to kick off because of our positioning. This is what makes it different than the calf slicer from the truck. Okay, it's just the angle and the ability to kick off with the opposite leg. All right, so now we're trying to play lockdown, but for whatever point, we're having a hard time moving here. Our partner's really crushing us, not giving us any space. We're having a hard time moving them around, okay? So I'm going to start to just scoot my hips towards the inside of the knees. So that way, again, the rule of being on the outside hip, I can extend and move that knee away from my hips a little bit, okay? If I try to do it while I stay on my outside hip or flat on my butt, sometimes you go to extend and this just slips off. So just a little shrimp to the inside and get to my inside or my outside hip. Once we get here, now we can give it some extension and move. Okay, so now both legs are going to move at the same time. And I'm going to make sure that I keep this clinch. I don't want him to bail when I change positions. So my outside leg, which is on the inside currently, is going to pummel to a butterfly hook. As my inside leg turns into a half guard hook. Okay, and then now if our partner tries to fix his positioning, anything like that, take so that we're all the way up into the hip now. And then now we're going to hit a forward shift and coming up. So then now we're in our butterfly guard, ready to start looking for some sweeps. So now for the mini stomp. Arm positioning, this could be many different places. More so it's going to be when I'm in here protecting. But our partner starts to take that inside knee of the half guard and starts to cut it over top, like they want to do a knee cut pass, okay? But they don't quite get their knee to the floor. I want to try to make sure that I can cup that knee and keep it from coming to the mat. When it comes to the mat, it's going to be easier for us to hopefully switch into a dogfight type situation where we're going to go inside, hit our lower leg shift like we did earlier, okay? So this one, my feet are locked on the top side, okay? But the knee came through. Once the knee's through, our top hook is going to come under and hook shoelace to shoelace, okay? And again, my top arm that I'm trying to keep towards my center line, hiding the underhook, okay? That's going to cup the knee and keep it in close to me. And then now we're going to extend both legs back out and put the knee back on the floor. Once the knee's back on the floor, then we can either go traditional half or back to our lockdown that's coiled in, so that because we're on our inside hip, okay? So we just want to make sure that when we do the mini stomp, okay, think of it, the goal isn't to get back to half guard. The goal is to get the knee back on the floor, okay? So I'm keeping that knee secured. I don't want it to come up and over my hip line, okay? So I'm just kind of cupping the knee with my top arm. My bottom arm should always be protecting this crossface. So it's all up here, okay? And then now, top leg comes under, shoelace to shoelace. I'm pinching my ankles so that we have nice control of our partner's ankle. Now I'm gonna extend both legs out, get the knee back on the floor. And then now, we're right back into our half guard, looking for everything that we've already done.